1, 2, 3, go. Hey, go on, leave it, Leo. It's going to go in. Whoa, nearly. Ah. Go get it, go get it.
And just for the record, it doesn't matter how you get there, but it's all got to match up. So many golfers have been totally ruined by the golf machine that ties them up in the perfect swing straitjacket.
I'm getting forget.
And putting you, or anyone else for that matter, up on a TV screen alongside Rory and Tiger, I mean, is a joke at best. And as far as coaching goes, I mean, it's way outdated. So hit it longer, straighter, quicker hips, more shoulder turn, use the ground more, and stand on your head for more club head speed. I mean, that really helps. And this is all just a sales pitch. I mean, many moons ago, I fell for it myself. You know, and the things that go through your mind as you walk down to the first tee. Oh no, I'm too far across the line. Oh, I'm too laid off. I'm open, I'm closed. My left wrist is arched. Oh no, it's cupped. A good solid golf swing is a golf swing that fits you, your body and your style of play. Your golf swing is like a stamp. It's like your own signature. And it's absolutely massive that it allows you to express yourself as you react to the target. And yes, you can tweak it here and there. And of course, the basics should never be overlooked. To fully gain control over your club face, then it's got to match up with both your swing direction and your body movements. Or your body movements and swing direction have got to match up with your club face alignment. And I'm going to back all of this up with some rock solid examples. And just for the record, it doesn't matter how you get there, but it's all got to match up.
Back and through.
So just before we kick off, if you don't understand the concept of how the swing direction works in relation to the target, then watch this video. The swing direction is the backbone of the movement, the boss of the swing. And if you're swinging in the wrong direction in relation to the target, then it doesn't really matter where the club face is aiming, does it? So when I teach a total beginner, I tell them to grip from the 1 o'clock position and start with a straight flat left wrist and square club face at address and take it all the way up to the top this way. This ensures they get a feeling for the club position in their hands and they gain control over the club face and left wrist position throughout the backswing and right up to the top. So basically they start with a square club face and a flat straight left wrist at address, and they take it all the way up to the top this way to finish with a square club face parallel to the left forearm and a straight flat left wrist. Easy, huh? I mean, this all sounds like a piece of cake, doesn't it? But it doesn't just end there. It's a learning process for both coach and pupil, and this can be relevant to every golfer at every level, from club golfer to aspiring tour pro.
It's a cracking shot, Leo. Brilliant swing, that.
Things change and develop, and as a coach you've either got to correct a negative aspect, change and nip it in the bud, or if it's a positive, just go with it.
Great shot, that's heavy.
And adapt as the golfer either grows, has new physical limitations such as a back problem, or if they're just simply ready to move up to the next level.
It's a great shot.
There are no quick fixes, they're just plasters that eventually slip off, often making the problem worse, making the cut deeper. I mean, it's not how it works in the real world, it's a process. And there's so much crap out there. Rotations, angles, wrist hinge, turn your hips quicker in the downswing for more club head speed, bigger shoulder turn. I mean, you would never think about any of these things if you're going to throw a ball or you're going to play tennis or play football. Now, as soon as you hinge your wrists, the chances are that you'll change your wrist angle and club face alignment at some stage in your backswing, normally coming to light as you get to the top. Now, if you look at how little range of motion my left wrist has when I hinge it, without changing its angle parallel to my left forearm, it's really minimal. I mean, you wouldn't really even call it a hinge. Whereas it's much easier to move your wrist from side to side in both directions to either cup or arch your left wrist in your backswing, opening or closing the club face at the top. The room for error is much greater here, and that's when a golfer tends to come into his own. And that's why the internet and YouTube are all loaded with information on wrist angles and rotational issues, but it's all got to work and fit you. Now, as the golfer develops, the swing feelings and body movements, things start to settle down and they tend to fall into one of these three categories. Now, just to make a point here, there is no order of preference to these three groups. No one group is better than the other. Okay? The first one is the golfer that gets to the top of the backswing with a flat straight left wrist and square club face parallel to the left forearm. The gold standard, if you like. Now, the second one is the golfer that gets to the top and cups his left wrist, opening the club face at the top, often sending the club shaft beyond parallel, finishing across the line. Now, the third scenario is the golfer that arches his left wrist and closes the club face at the top of the backswing, which tends to lay the club shaft off at the top, often shortening the length of the backswing. Now, none of these three scenarios are technically better or worse than the other, but what's really important is that it all fits together and fits the golfer's body type, style and level of flexibility. And yes, flexibility. Yes, you can work at it.
Head arms out, hit it. I hit it, and
but generally, you are what you are. Your shoulder joint might not be as flexible as the next man, but that doesn't matter at all. It's a massively individual thing, and if you change a golfer from one style to another, it's game over and you'll kill them. You'll destroy all their instincts and feelings that they use to express themselves and how they naturally react to the target.
Bang, 1, 2, 3, go! Hey, it's a cracker, that!
I mean, all this perfect swing stuff that's belted around the internet has ruined so many golfers and talented golfers because they're trying to change and adapt to a swing style or method that doesn't fit their build and how their body is made to move.
It's a cracking shot, Lucy. Brilliant swing.
A good golf swing should allow you to express yourself and feel the shot you want to play. You don't want to play golf by numbers, and if you do, you better be prepared to put the hours in on the driving range, because under pressure, it's near impossible to be somebody you're not. Now I'll show you how these three backswing scenarios play out with the corresponding downswing movements so that everything matches up. Now the first backswing scenario is regarded as the gold standard, the perfect top of the backswing position that is often sold to the golfing public as the #1 go-to swing method. And I'm going to use both Rory McIlroy and Tommy Fleetwood for this one, and I might even throw Jimenez into the mix because he's quite cool. So all obviously rock solid swings, leaning towards a rotary swing style where the hands and arms and body work back together on the same swing plane. Now the beauty of the rotary swing is that it looks good, it's nice and neat and tidy. There are not so many moving parts, and that's why many golfers want to swing it this way regardless of whether it fits them or not. That's often why it's the preferred swing to teach, because with a rotary swing everything tends to rotate and turn back and through together, needing less manipulation of the club head. Because the body movements and hand and arm movements tend to be more in sync with one another, regarded as being more efficient. Now you see here how Rory gets to the top perfectly and finishes with a flat straight left wrist position and square club face parallel to his left forearm. Obviously, technically and aesthetically very pleasing to the eye. Now from here everything works in perfect harmony and in the correct sequence as you would expect at this top level, as he fires his lower body which works beautifully together with his upper body and hand and arm movement throughout. I do appreciate he makes it look easy, and we don't tend to focus on the millions of hours of dedicated practice from being a toddler and the obvious abundance of talent, but I'm just trying to make a point here. And something I really want you to take away from Rory's swing, which is never really talked about but is absolutely massive and allows his body to freely react to the target, is, I mean, if you look how he stands slightly to the left in an open position and swings out towards the right, out towards the target, his body is free to turn and move and react to the target, and he never stands in his own way.
Swing, 1, 2, 3, go! Hey, it's a cracker that!
If you check out my video, The Biggest Swing Killer, I cover this topic in detail, and you'll find that many golfers unnecessarily struggle with their swings because they're standing in their own way, aiming too far to the right and swinging left from outside to in a fight to get back to the target. I mean, nobody seems to talk about it. Strange that, but true. Now Tommy Fleetwood's swing is very similar to that of Rory's. It looks slightly different at first glance because this is Tommy Fleetwood and not Rory McIlroy, and their body shapes and styles are individual, but from a technical standpoint everything matches up the same way. Now Tommy Fleetwood also leans towards the rotary style of swing and gets to the top with a flat straight left wrist and square club face, and then fires his lower body with exceptional precision, and he finishes his swing really well balanced and solid. Now it's a very simple yet powerful and efficient golf swing with very few moving or disconnecting parts. It's a machine that's built to last. Now Alan Thompson, his coach, has really got him back to his best by ensuring that the basic fundamentals are in place. Now Tommy was aiming too far right and was using a closed club face to fight to get back to the target. Now his timing is exceptional, especially under pressure, but eventually things can start to unravel, and aiming to the right and swinging back to the left to get back to the target is never a good combination.
Lovely. Now, you've said you're swinging the club better than you ever have. You work with Alan Thompson, your coach, and you've called him the best coach in the world. Obviously, it's really working right now. What has he helped you with? What's the main thing that's turned you from a very good player into a great player?
I was playing with a really strong club face, which doesn't, I mean, my club face is a bit strong anyway, but I had it stronger than I would like. I was aiming right and swinging right to basically try and counter that. So if I hit something 20 yards right, it would actually be a straight shot, and I didn't know that in myself. So we had to do a lot of work on setup, a lot of work on me knowing what was a good shot on the range, because it's all right coming in hitting balls, but you could be pulling it or pushing it if you don't know where your alignment is, and you go on the course and then you're all out of sync.
I mean, this is the classic that you get the guy who's aiming up the right hand side like this, got a nice strong grip, ball position back in his stance, and what he's trying to do is pull the ball back into the middle of the fairway. Then you've got Jimenez, known as the mechanic because apparently he likes to tinker with his swing,
but he really doesn't need to do much. Very, very consistent swing. I saw him here on the driving range in Loipersdorf a few years back. I was teaching on the range at the time and I didn't want to bother him, but you could hear the thump when he hit the ball. It just sounded and looked consistent. He certainly didn't look like he was going to snap hook one out the blue or anything like that. Now, as you can see, when he gets to the top, he just turns into position, just looks solid. And it's obviously a tried and tested golf swing at the highest level. The second one is the golfer that gets to the top and cups his left wrist, opening the club face at the top, often sending the club shaft across the line, often over swinging. Now, Fred Couples or Phil Mickelson, amongst many other elite golf professionals, fall into this category of player. This style is leaning more towards a stack and tilt kind of swing style or method, whereby the hands and arms work back on a steeper swing plane than that of the body rotation. Once again, it's far from being wrong. If it fits the build and style of player, then it's a great way to swing. It's actually helped to win numerous majors over the years. For me, the finest example of this style of swing is the great Bobby Jones. His rhythm and timing are just exceptional, and how it just all flows. You'll see how these players tend to swing past horizontal. They get across the line and the left wrists are cupped at the top, opening up the club face. And it's not wrong. It's not wrong. Now, there are various ways of doing it, but the first way to close the club face to get it back to a square position through impact is by strengthening the grip, where both hands move to the right at address. Now, obviously Phil Mickelson is a lefty, so both hands move more to the left at address. Now, your body will always want to find its natural position during the swing. And a good way to see how this affects the club face is to take a strong grip and then allow your hands and arms to relax and hang down from your body to find their natural position. You'll see now that the club face is no longer square but closed, and that's how it would be at impact, which offsets your cupped left wrist and open club face at the top of your backswing. You can do the same thing with a weak grip, and you'll see how this opens the club face as you let your hands and arms find their natural position at impact. That's how it works when you adapt and manipulate your grip. Now, the second option is to introduce your release, which is just a fancy word for the rotation of your hands and arms in your downswing and through impact. Now, the confusion around the release is that it doesn't start at impact. That's too late. It starts at some point during your downswing, and every player has a different point of release. You'll have to play around with it. Now, grip pressure plays a great role in the release. If you grip too tightly, then your hands will struggle to rotate through impact. Grip pressure should be light but strong enough to have a firm grip on the handle, but at the same time allows you to feel the weight of the club head in your hands. So what is hot to one man is cold to another. So it's a personal feeling with grip pressure. If you see now how Fred Couples releases through impact, he actually removes his right hand and fingers from the grip to allow his hands to turn and release, closing the club face. I mean, you never hear this kind of thing belted around. Nobody talks about how your golf swing is personal to you. Along with beautiful body movements and great rhythm, he uses a strong left hand grip at address and releases his hands through impact to offset the open club face at the top of his backswing. Phil Mickelson is the same. He has a strong release in his downswing and through impact to square up his club face. It actually looks like he flips his hands and club face over through the hitting area. At the top of the backswing, his club face is open due to a cupped right wrist, and he matches everything up perfectly in his downswing. Yes, and Phil Mickelson has got great timing, but a great player has put the hours in and has got great timing. And no great golfer is great with a bad short game. You know, and again, there's no pill you can take or one swing method that needs less skill or timing than the next, but it's got to fit you. And who is Bobby Jones? Don't tell me you don't know who he is. Shame on you. Google it if you don't know. And if you tell me his backswing is too long, his left wrist is cupped, his club face is open, and the equipment back in the day was different, shafts and everything, then go back to the driving range and do this again. Do whatever you want. Do whatever floats your boat. Now, Bobby Jones is a legend, and it was actually a relief for me when I found him later on in my career as a coach, because he's more my own personal style of swing. I tried the rotary swing and I drilled my bones with it for many, many years, only to realise later that as a kid I'd just stand up to it, pick a target and just whack it straight and long. I mean, I never really thought about it. You know, I'm that far down the road now, and as a coach I realise that my body shape, style and the way my body naturally turns and moves leans more towards a stack and tilt kind of movement, and the rotary swing just killed me. You know, I fought with this for years, which I suppose is normal when you've been told 1,000 times that it's wrong and you're across the line and open again. And I mean, I still fight with it today, to be honest with you. Sometimes when I look at my own swing on a video, I think, God, you know, you're across the line again. I feel like I need time, a long swing. I like to feel the club head in my hands. I like to feel the whipping motion through impact. I need good rhythm. All the things that the rotary swing just took away from me. You know, don't get me wrong here. Absolutely no offence to anybody I've ever worked with on my golf. But obviously the rotary swing, it doesn't fit me. It doesn't fit my build or shoulder flexibility. Now, something I see from many of my pupils and many elite professionals alike is the inability to externally rotate through the right shoulder in the backswing. Now, the shoulder being able to move this way during the backswing allows the hands and arms and body to stay connected and rotate together. Now, that's basically the rotary swing. Now, if the pain response kicks in due to lack of flexibility in your shoulder joint, then it'll stop turning, sending you across the line. I mean, you can work on your flexibility until the cows come home, but if it doesn't fit your stature, you're going against Mother Nature. I mean, a shark is powerful, agile and moves dynamically through the water, but no matter how hard it tries, it'll never climb a tree. Do you know, and I can swing it more rotary if you like. But it just doesn't feel natural. I lose club head speed, I lose distance, I lose control. I mean, it just doesn't fit me. I mean, a good golf swing allows you to express yourself and doesn't tie you up in a straitjacket. But that was the Faldo and Ledbetter era. I know, and some of it was good. I mean, if you're the type of player that needs the technical information broken down in that way, then yeah, then it's okay. But let's face it, Faldo would have been the best player in the world and would have won numerous majors with or without Ledbetter. But that's another story. Everywhere you look, you'll find fix your across the line problem or stop overswinging in your backswing. I mean, I dare you to tell Fred or Phil or Bobby to change the swing styles to a rotary swing. Change the wrist angles and square the club face up at the top of the backswing. And stop getting across the line. I mean, I've got a good idea what they'd tell you. And I think it was John Daly that once said he'd punch someone on the nose if they told him to stop overswinging. It's a bit harsh, but you know, he's got a point. So many talented golfers have been totally ruined trying to be the golfer they're not, just because of the latest fad or the newest, hottest, hyped golf guru gets a grip on them. I mean, if this is you, then you'll know what I mean when I say that it gets that bad, you start to question which end of the club you should grip.
I'm getting forget.
For the third scenario, I'm going to use Dustin Johnson as my example, who starts with a strong grip, which will close the club face at some point during the swing. He arches his left wrist at the top of the backswing, closing the club face further. Now, Dustin Johnson, we all know who he is. You know, he won the Masters, he was world #1, or he even might still be. And because he arches his left wrist at the top of the backswing, every Tom, Dick and Harry are standing on the range, giving it a go. I mean, for a start, there's not many golfers flexible enough to arch their left wrist like this anyway. I mean, just painful, even when standing still, never mind at the top of a dynamic and explosive movement. And then in his downswing, how the hell you can tell an amateur club golfer to do this is beyond me. Now, as he starts down, he opens up his body with an explosive and dynamic movement that demands tremendous strength and flexibility. Now, at the top of his backswing, the club face is closed and he opens his body up through impact to square up the club face. Now, his backswing closes the club face and his downswing opens up the club face to square it up in relation to the target. Now, it all matches up for him, his build and his style of swing. They'll tell you it takes all the timing issues out through impact. You'll hit it straighter, you'll hit it longer. Now, to be #1, you've got to be very talented and have a very rigorous and strict work ethic from day dot. I mean, it doesn't need less practice for timing than any other swing. No, I've got it sussed, or maybe you just need a new driver. Now, I hope you know what I'm guessing at here, don't you? Your swing has got to fit you. Yes, if you're excessively across the line or laid off and cupped or arched at the top, then yes, it may need reeling in and correcting within a certain range. I always like to look at the golf swing and compare it to other sports or movements. Now, some people like me, for example, will throw a ball from here, and I'm a pretty good thrower. Now, if I put a club in my hand at the top, it's across the line. Now, the next person will throw from here due to feel and flexibility, and if I put a golf club in my hand, you can see it's more laid off. And tennis is the same. You know, the point I'm trying to make here is that it's all got to match up. It's got to fit you and work for you, and not against your natural movements and instincts as you react to the target. Your golf swing should be a reflection of yourself. It should allow you to express yourself, and it should work with your natural physical attributes. Yeah, but what came first, the golf shot or the golf swing? Hit the shot and work back to your swing instead of trying to find positions and then hit a shot. So as you can see, that the club face control is not just a case of stronger grip, weaker grip, arched or cupped, release or no release. It's a process of learning about what works for you, what fits you, and a process of elimination. So where do you go from here? Now, if you watch my last video, then you'll know the importance of being controlled, isolating the boss of the swing direction by playing shots with your feet together. To simplify things, taking the body out. Now I want you to do the same thing and read the ball flight and correct any spin issues. Make sure the ball flight never starts initially to the left, because that's bad, blocked and losing you massive amounts of control and club head speed. From here it's all about spin, and also watch how the ball kicks and reacts as it bounces. Now, the first way to correct any spin issues is by changing your grip. Now, a strong grip where both hands move to the right on the handle closes the club face at some point in the swing, correcting slice spin to the right. Now, a weak grip where both hands move to the left on the handle opens up the club face at some point during the swing and corrects any overdraw spin to the left, which is something the great Jack Nicklaus used to do because he could hook his driver really badly, and he'd offset this with a weaker grip, and obviously the rest is history, and so is his power fade. Well, you can try to reduce the amount of release in your downswing and through impact by adding more grip pressure on the last 3 fingers of your left hand, which works really well. Now, you can reverse the release by turning your right hand under your left in your downswing and through impact, or by having the sensation that after impact the club face is pointing up to the sky or to the target through the hitting area. If your ball is spinning over to the right and kicking right when it hits the ground, then you can go through the elimination process and try one of these. You can strengthen your grip by turning both hands more to the right on the handle. You can release your hands early through the hitting area, not quicker at impact, because that's just too late and it's really difficult to time. Now, regarding wrist angles, I've seen it all over YouTube where highly regarded golfing intellects talk about changing wrist angles to manipulate the angle of attack, club face alignment and ball flights. Now, wrist angles tend to vary from golfer to golfer and have a lot to do with levels of flexibility, stature and style. Now, once you go down that route, you've really got to consult an expert just to make sure you're not doing something which doesn't fit you. You know, you can very quickly do more damage than good. Now, in a golf swing, you firstly got to work out what is part of a person's natural makeup and what needs to be corrected so that everything matches up. Now, if you take Dustin Johnson as an example again, what came first? The closed club face at the top of his backswing? Probably. And so he adapted by opening up his body excellently through impact. Now, I guarantee the majority of golfers will try and correct a wrist angle or club face alignment problem in the backswing before they even look at how things match up in the downswing, or how they possibly potentially could match up with a player's downswing. Stand in the controls, put your feet together and read the ball flight and spin and correct accordingly. Now, next lesson, I'm going to show you how to get your body involved and how naturally your body, your hips and your shoulders move and turn and react in relation to the target. You're going to be a beast.
It's a great shot. Great shot, that's heavy. It's a cracking shot, Leo. Brilliant swing, that. It's a cracking shot, Lucy. Hey, that's a cracker, that. That's it. To me. 1, 2, 3, go. Hey, good lad. Great shot. That's all over it, that. Good shot from there, that. Great shot. Let's knock it in. Great shot, that's all over it. Yeah, good girl, well done. Get on. Go, 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 go. Nearly. Go and tap it in, Lucy. Tap it in. Well done. Watch this. Right by the flag. What is it? Into the wind, is it?
Yeah. 80.
Birdie chance.
Birdie shot.
Nice little birdie. Great shot, that, mate. That's right at it.
Oh, go in.
It nearly did. That was close, that.
Really close.
Yeah, it's a good shot, that. Coming in nicely. That's alright, that. Yeah, great shot, that. Get on, go! That's perfect, that, well done. Great shot. Great shot, well done. Great shot. Get in, get in, get in, get in. Ooh, nearly, well done. Brilliant shot, that. Over to me. Good swing, 1, 2, 3, go! Hey,
I can
it's a
feel
cracker,
it
that.
somewhere inside, haunting like a drug I keep on wanting. There's a love that fits so perfect, it's hard to believe.